Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Java Basics. Today we're going to be talking about the different kinds of errors that you can encounter while programming. Now this is certainly not specific to Java or any computer language. But before we get into that, unfortunately for you, I am going to make you sit through a really bad joke. The definition of a program. Yes, sometimes it feels like a program is just a magic spell that causes the computer to spit out error messages, to turn anything you do into an error message. Well, that's the topic of today's video, so let's get right into it. If you want to learn Java programming, or just programming in general, subscribe to this channel. We put out a lot of videos that range from beginner topics to more advanced programming concepts. Also, please like this video, share it with a friend, and write a comment as well. It goes a long way to help promote a channel like this. Now, let's get back to the video. So there are three different kinds of errors that you can encounter while programming. The first are called compile errors. These are errors where you type something incorrectly into your IDE. In our case, it would be NetBeans. You forget something, maybe you forgot a quote, or you misnamed a variable, and then you use the proper name later. Those are compile errors. These are errors that NetBeans will tell you about. Another more subtle kind of error is a runtime error. This is something that NetBeans will not catch. Your code actually works, but when you run it, something happens. Something causes the program to crash, to terminate suddenly, and then you get a whole bunch of error messages, and usually NetBeans or Java will tell you where the error is, and usually in a cryptic way, it'll tell you what kind of error it is. The last and probably the most difficult kind of error to find are logic errors. So these are errors where everything compiles, everything works, nothing is being reported by NetBeans that there's an error. Your code works. It doesn't crash the program, but it doesn't work as expected. Now these are definitely the hardest to find. If you ever play any video games like on PlayStation, Xbox, computer, whatever, you may run into certain situations where, say, your character walks through a wall or falls through the floor or something like that. Those are logic errors. Let's take a look at some examples. Why don't you pause the video, take a look at this slide, and see if you can spot all the errors in this mini program. Okay, so there are, just so you know, 3 errors inside this program. Did you get them all? Well, let's look at the first one. Right here, there's a compile error. NetBeans is going to complain because we forgot the semicolon. I'm going to switch over to NetBeans now and show you this code. As you can see, this is underlined in red. Very easy to find. You'll see the red line over here, you'll see the red line over here, and you'll see a red exclamation point over here. If you hover over any of those, it tells you there's a semicolon expected. So we need to put the semicolon there. I'm going to get rid of it just so we have the error underlined so we can see it. But I did say that there are 2 other errors. Let's take a look at the second error. This is a runtime error. When I run this code, Java is going to complain. It's going to say, I'm trying to divide by 0. As you can see, we are dividing by C, which is 0. Now, sometimes Java will say that the answer is infinity. Other times it may say you're dividing by 0. Sometimes you may be taking the square root of a negative number. In any of those cases, Java is not going to know up front when you're actually writing the program that there's an error, because technically this is just a variable. It could take on any value. It doesn't have to be 0. But when you run the program, if the value is 0, or if, say, you're taking a square root of a negative number, you will get an error. And there are a lot of different kinds of runtime errors, and we'll get into some of those as we get into the more advanced topics. Let's take a look at the third kind of error. Here we have a logic error. The program works perfectly. There's nothing wrong with this line of code. There's nothing wrong with this line of code. It will run and everything will work fine. However, look what it's printing. It's printing a plus b equals, and then the value d. But you assign d to be the value of a minus b. That's where we have a logic error. NetBeans won't complain. Java won't complain. You have to find it on your own. I hope you learned something from watching this video. Please remember to subscribe and share this video with others who are learning Java programming. Thanks for watching, and take care, everyone.